If you are learning AI without mastering the fundamentals first, you are setting yourself up for failure. I wasted 6 months doing exactly that, chasing the next big tool instead of mastering the basics. But once I fixed that, everything changed. So today, I'm going to walk you through the 5 fundamentals that actually matter, the ones that decide whether AI works for you or against you. But before we jump in, let's establish what we're working with. AI isn't just ChatGPT anymore. We are way past that. There are hundreds of tools, models, and frameworks flooding the market. It has become a giant mess, and it's almost impossible to tell which tools are actually worth your time. But the people getting real value aren't chasing every new release. They have mastered 5 fundamentals that work no matter what software you use. The first fundamental is prompt construction. And notice I didn't say prompt writing, I said construction. That's because most people treat AI like Google. They type a loose question, hit enter, and hope for the best. Sometimes you get lucky, but usually you don't. To fix this, Google actually released a framework for this in their prompt engineering course. They call it TCREI: Task, Context, References, Evaluate, and Iterate. Now, I covered this framework deeply in another video where I condensed Google's entire prompt engineering course into just 20 minutes. I'll link that below, but for now, here's the quick breakdown. It starts with T for task. This is the specific action you want the AI to complete. It is not help me write an email, as that tells the AI almost nothing. A task looks like this. Write a 150-word apology email to a client about a missed deadline. You can see the difference immediately. One is a vague request for help. The other is a clear executable instruction. But a task alone isn't enough. You need C for context. Without context, the AI has to guess. And when AI guesses, it defaults to the average. So take that same apology email. Don't just say missed deadline. Add the detail. This is for a loyal client of 5 years who is angry because this is the second delay this month. And now the AI understands the stakes better. Then you add R for references. This is the single most undervalued step in prompting. Instead of trying to describe the writing style you want, just demonstrate it. Paste in an email you've written before and say, match the tone and formatting of this example. And suddenly, the output doesn't sound robotic. It aligns with your specific voice. And finally, evaluate and iterate. This is where most people get it wrong. They expect the AI to do 100% of the work, but the reality is the AI gets you 80% of the way there. That last 20% is entirely on you. You have to close the gap. You tweak the phrasing, you fact check the data, and you tighten the structure. The goal isn't to replace your judgment, it's to accelerate your execution. Again, I went way deeper into this framework in my video breaking down Google's prompt engineering course. If you want examples, advanced techniques, and more context on how to use TCREI, check that video in the description. For now, just know that this framework of prompting is the foundation. Master this, and every other AI fundamental becomes easier. Once you know how to speak to the AI, you need to know which AI to speak to. And this brings us to fundamental number 2. One of the biggest mistakes people make is trying to force one app to do everything. They use ChatGPT for research, for images, and for tasks it simply wasn't built to handle. To work efficiently, you need to understand the 4 distinct categories of tools. First up, we have the general reasoning engines. These are the industry-level models like ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini. Think of these as the brain of your operation. They are generalists, which means they are incredible at logic, writing, coding, and summarizing. You need exactly one of these. And honestly, it doesn't matter which one you pick. They are all neck and neck right now. Just pick the interface you prefer and make it your go-to AI engine. Next, you have the research engines. This is where tools like Perplexity, NotebookLM, and Consensus live. You use these when accuracy matters more than creativity. General models like ChatGPT can hallucinate. Research engines are built differently. They have access to the live web, and most importantly, they cite their sources. If you need to verify a claim or learn a new topic, do not ask a chatbot. Instead, ask a research engine. Then we have specialists. These are tools built to dominate a single niche. Whether that's Midjourney for images, 11 Labs for audio, or Cursor for code. While ChatGPT can make an image, it is usually nowhere near the level that a specialist tool like Midjourney can produce. If you need professional-grade assets, you go to a specialist. And finally, there are the workflow automators. I'm talking about tools like Zapier, Make, and N8N. Unlike the others, these tools don't generate content, they move data. They are the infrastructure that turns a bunch of loose apps into a cohesive system. If you find yourself copying the same thing 3 times a day, you don't need a better prompt, you need a workflow tool. The takeaway is simple. Stop trying to force one tool to do everything. It's inefficient and it leads to average results. Instead, just fill these 4 slots. One logic engine, one researcher, a couple of specialists, and an automator. That is the entire system. Now, up until this point, we have been talking about tools that you control, but the industry is shifting towards that control themselves, which brings us to fundamental number 3, AI agents. This is the most important shift happening in AI right now. Most people are still stuck using AI as a chatbot, and a chatbot requires you to be the middleman. An agent removes the middleman completely. Let me make this concrete. Imagine you run an online store. A chatbot can draft a reply to a customer, but it stops there. You still have to handle the delivery. An agent is different. It detects the email, checks the database, drafts the reply, and sends it. The difference is that the chatbot gives you advice while the agent executes the task. And this doesn't just apply to business operations. It applies to deep research. Let's say you're planning a trip to Japan. You want to know the best time to visit, the top hotels in Tokyo, and which local food spots are actually worth it. You could spend hours Googling, opening tabs, and cross-referencing reviews. Or you could use a research agent. It searches multiple sources, synthesizes the data, filters out the noise, and delivers a fully custom travel guide. The agent does the research and you just review the destination. Now we get to fundamental number 4, which is understanding the power of open source AI. To put it in the simplest terms possible, closed source means you rent the intelligence. Open source means you own the engine. For the last 2 years, the closed source giants like OpenAI, Anthropic, and Google dominated the AI world. But then, open source Chinese models like DeepSeek changed the equation completely. Suddenly, you could download a model for free that performed just as well as the proprietary ones. And the reason for this shift comes down to security and stability. With open source, you process everything locally, meaning your data stays private by default. You remove the dependency on third-party providers and you operate without usage caps or subscription fees. You are simply running the model on your own terms. Now, for the average user, ChatGPT is still easier, which is completely understandable. But the market is moving. A recent report showed that over 80% of new AI startups are now building on open source foundations. They are choosing speed and control over brand names. And you don't need a supercomputer to try this. You can run models like Llama, DeepSeek, or Qwen right on your laptop today using a free tool called Alma. It makes running a local AI as easy as downloading an app. And this is not a temporary trend. By late 2026, open source models will likely power the majority of new AI applications. You don't need to switch right now. But if you are a developer or a creator, you need to know that the proprietary advantage of the big models is vanishing. If you are building anything with AI, open source is absolutely worth exploring. Now, talking about open source and developers implies that you need to know how to write code to participate. For a long time, that was true, but that barrier has just collapsed. This brings us to fundamental number 5. The fifth fundamental is realizing that you don't need to be a software engineer to build software anymore. We have entered the era of AI-assisted coding, sometimes called vibe coding. The reality is that you can now describe what you want in plain English, and the AI will write the actual code for you. Let me give you an example. Imagine you want a tool that takes a spreadsheet file and converts it into a chart. You want the user to be able to pick a bar chart, line chart, or pie chart and download the result. A year ago, you needed to hire a developer to build that. Today, you type that exact description into a tool and it builds the entire app. This matters because it removes the technical barrier completely. It means that if you have an idea for a custom habit tracker or a business dashboard, the barrier isn't your inability to write code anymore. The only barrier is knowing clearly what you want. Now, these tools exist on a spectrum. For quick prototyping, you have Google AI Studio. You can use the build feature to generate lightweight apps instantly without setting up an environment. On the Node end, you have Replit. Their agent handles the entire setup. You describe it and it deploys a real application. And on the Pro end, we are seeing a shift to agent-first ideas. Tools like Cursor have dominated the space, but now we have Google Anti-Gravity. This is a new type of editor where you act as the architect and autonomous agents handle the coding, testing, and debugging in the background. But whether you use REPL, Cursor, or Anti-Gravity, the shift is the same. AI is no longer just advising you on how to build, it is building for you. And while that shift is happening right now, there is one final evolution coming down the line that you need to be ready for. Right now, most people are stuck just typing text into a box, but we are entering the era of multimodality. And we are already seeing this with tools like Gemini. You can currently upload an MP3 audio file or an MP4 video, and the model understands that footage as natively as it understands text. By the end of 2026, this will be seamless. The keyboard won't be your primary tool. You will point your camera at a problem and the AI will analyze it live. You will speak to your agent the same way you would speak to a member of your team. And as the interface evolves, the people who get ahead won't just be the best prompt writers, they will be the ones who are comfortable directing agents and controlling open source systems using voice, video, and audio. Start getting comfortable with these inputs now, because that is the direction the entire industry is moving towards. So that is the foundation. Instead of wasting months chasing the latest software, you now have the framework to make any tool work for you. This is the shift that lets you outperform the average user no matter which app you are actually using. But while the logic is essential, you still need a toolkit to execute it. And contrary to popular belief, you don't need to pay for it. Google actually offers 7 completely free AI tools that can replace most of the paid apps people use today. I tested all of them to see which ones are worth your time. The full breakdown is on your screen right now. Click it and I'll see you right.